There are exonerated people across the country, but in New Orleans, I find a special community of exonerees, the Ray House. That's because Louisiana has the highest incarceration rate in the country, and New Orleans has one of the highest exoneration rates in the nation. How does this happen? In a country that prides itself on its justice system, who is at fault? It often begins with prosecutors who want to win cases.
Across Louisiana, but particularly in New Orleans, there has been a much more of a culture of win at any cost. And it hasn't been tempered by the kind of training and ethical compliance sort of guidelines that many places around the country have developed to make sure that I want to win mentality doesn't spill over and create an awful lot of wrongful convictions.
In some cases, overzealous prosecutors withhold key evidence from the defense, evidence which could prove the accused is innocent. Without a good lawyer, an innocent man accused of a crime often doesn't stand a chance.
We have traditionally in New Orleans had virtually no money for public defenders. So when poor people get arrested and get appointed a lawyer, there was traditionally a really overburdened and under-resourced office to represent them. And what that led to is people getting wrongly convicted because the public defenders didn't have investigators and didn't necessarily have the training that they needed to be able to properly defend someone against a charge that may have been wrong or may have been false.
How much time did you spend with your lawyer before the date of the trial?
I spent 20 minutes with him and visiting. When he came saw me 2 days before that, that was it. Every time my family would go there and try to catch him in his office, he was never there. They tried to call, he would never answer the phone. So, this is the type of attorney I had.
Proper criminal defense would mean fewer innocent people in prison.
People are increasingly aware that having a well-funded public defense system, for example, is not just providing a luxury to criminals, which is how it is often termed in the press. I think people increasingly understand that if you want to prevent innocent people going to prison, you have to fund public defense.
According to the Innocence Project, bad lawyering was a factor in 77% of the wrongful convictions in Louisiana and Mississippi. But perhaps the biggest problem of them all is that there's no effective system in place to hold prosecutors or defenders accountable for misconduct.
Lawyers almost never face consequences when they commit the kind of routine performance violations that rise to ethical violations. Lack of diligence, failure to make sure that the defense has all the information it needs, a defense lawyer failing to investigate a case. They almost never get disciplined for that. It needs to be more like the medical profession where, the moment somebody's on notice that there's a problem and that could risk lives, that's taken very seriously. But we don't take client complaints seriously in the criminal justice system, especially when that client's in prison. So we have to do better. There is no reason to differentiate between the medical profession and the practice of criminal law, because in every criminal case, someone's life or liberty is at stake.